to win MVP? Is it Love or is it Hurts?
I'm going to say Jordan Love. In his first full year of starting, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, over 4,100 yards. He's the real deal. And if you watch him and you watch some of his mannerisms and the way he can throw the football from the pocket, the way he can throw the football on the move, the way he can change arm slots, he reminds you a lot of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to say he's going to be as great as Aaron Rodgers was or is with the 4 MVPs or Super Bowl MVP, but you watch his mannerisms, and he learned a lot of what he's able to do from sitting behind Aaron Rodgers and studying him. And if you look at him, he's polished. He's as good as he's better than I thought he would be, because I don't think anybody thought he was going to be this good out of the gate. Yeah, sitting behind someone, and we saw him in Kansas City that year that Aaron Rodgers had COVID, and we were like, well, damn, Green Bay, y'all might have made a mistake with this one. But lo and behold, did they ever hit it out the park with this? So I'm going to go. Jalen Hurts is going to have to prove. Last year, he had a down year. He's got to prove that the year before that he almost won the MVP was not an anomaly. That this season, this past season, was an anomaly. And that's more of the norm. That's more of the trend. He's got to get that taste out of his mouth. And so right now, I'm going to go with Jordan Love.
Yeah, okay. I understand what Shannon Sharpe is saying here. But there's a few ways that honestly we can look at this. Because you can make the argument that both quarterbacks have to prove. Because the big argument against Jordan Love was that it was only the last 10 games, only the last 10 games, only the last 10 games, and didn't particularly have a great playoff game against the 49ers. Didn't play terrible, but it wasn't next level either. And so that he has to kind of prove that he is more than just this one season. And the whole thing with Jalen Hurts, as Shannon, just kind of mentioned, this idea that Jalen Hurts has only had one good year. But with that said, listen, I think Jordan Love is absolutely more in the driver's seat to not only win the MVP, because he's someone who I put up as an MVP candidate. Him and CJ Stroud are my two favorites to win the MVP this year. More than anything, Jordan Love's success, they seem to all be tying to Jordan Love himself. They do not tie his success or his great even season last year to LaFleur, to the weapons, offensive line, whatever it may be. Whereas Jalen Hurts, it's constantly tied to the coordinators, both his successes and failures, to the coordinators, to the weapons, to Sirianni, whatever it may be. So even if Jalen Hurts balls out this season, he'll get a similar to a Brock Purdy level treatment, where it's like, yeah, but like he's got AJ Brown, he's got Devontae, he's got Saquon, whatever it may be. So if you're going to ask like who's more likely to win the MVP, it's going to be Jordan Love, because it just seems like Jordan Love has somehow found himself with the presence in the media that people choose him as the reason why he is successful. Whereas you have other quarterbacks like the Brock Purdy's, like the Jalen Hurtses, where if they are successful, it's not because of them. Even in 22 for Jalen Hurts, you still had tons of people saying he's just a system quarterback, just a system quarterback, just a system quarterback. And I don't think he would have shed that as much if he didn't ball out so heavily in the Super Bowl. That was clearly not just him being a, quote, system quarterback. And then he was not able to carry that momentum with him into this last season. So I think that he kind of fell out of favor with a lot of people. If you poll the average media member, the average person does not have Jalen Hurts as a top 10 quarterback. They just don't. It feels more mixed for Jordan Love, because you have some people putting him number 2, right? You have like the real media out there saying Jordan Love is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now, and that if you were going to draft and start, it would be Patrick Mahomes, then Jordan Love. I don't know anyone that has that for Jalen Hurts. So I think Jordan Love is much more in the driver's seat to continue with that momentum and that media favoritism. And I don't mean favoritism in such a negative way. I don't mean like they're necessarily playing favorites, but they enjoy Jordan Love. With Jalen Hurts, though, he's in a tough situation, because if he bounces back this season, and he does have the weapons. He does have the team, and I believe he does have the coaching staff that he's in the driver's seat now to kind of rework his narrative and the story that's being told about him. But I think he just faces a greater uphill media battle with regards to that. Because like I said, if he does continue to, if he's able to kind of change things up, and let's say the Eagles are 8-1, 9-1, 10-2, whatever it may be, they're just going to be like, well, look, Saquon, he adds such a dynamic presence to this offense. And oh my God, the addition of Dotson, like Jalen Hurts, there's always a wide open receiver. Like they're just going to explain it away. And they won't, I just don't think he will get the credit that he's necessarily deserved. Just like I don't think Brock Purdy gets the credit that he's owed in a lot of ways. The only way that someone like it at this point that I think that a Jalen Hurts can really take over an MVP debate is really one of two ways. One, the Eagles are so insanely dominant that they are just clearly the best team in the NFL, and it's like you have to give the MVP to a Philadelphia Eagle. And as long as Saquon Barkley isn't playing at the level that, say, a Christian McCaffrey did, it would go to it would go to then Jalen Hurts. Or Jalen Hurts is running so much. Not only is he playing great, he has a great quarterback, but similar to Lamar Jackson, he's also running so much, has 1 million rushing touchdowns, 1 million rushing yards, and then that becomes kind of unavoidable to say, well, he's a system, because it's like, well, you're doing it with your legs, which I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to do. I think they're going to get away from that in terms of for Jalen Hurts' game. So that's where then it's just like, to me, it's an easier path for Jordan Love, because if Jordan Love just has to play great football, and if he's got the Packers in the top 1, 2, 3 seed, he is absolutely going to be in that conversation. Because as great as weapons and as amazing of a coach as Matt LaFleur that I think he is, the successes for Jordan Love just get credited to him. They don't explain it away by saying, well, look who he has as his wide receiver. Well, yeah, anyone can do that. He's got so-and-so as his running back. He just doesn't have these big name top dogs. He doesn't have the A.J. Browns. He doesn't have the Christian McCaffreys. He doesn't have the Deebo Samuels. Like he doesn't have those things. People aren't saying that the Packers have the best offensive line in the NFL. They're not saying that. And I praise the Packers. I think the Packers have a top team this year. But it's just like, from a media perspective, they don't have those names. And so his credit gets given to Jordan Love. That's at the end of the day what it comes down to. And that's, at the end of the day, is how people vote for the MVP. They think, are you the reason for this success? People do not see the reason for the 49ers' success to be Brock Purdy. They don't see the reason for the Eagles' success necessarily. I think Jalen Hurts gets more credit than a Brock Purdy, but it's a spectrum. They give all the credit to Patrick Mahomes. They give virtually none of the credit to Brock Purdy. They give about half the credit to Jalen Hurts. And Jordan Love has found himself in a situation where he gets all the credit. And again, right or wrong, that's just the perspective of, honestly, both fans and the media. And that's how the MVP gets voted on. But yeah, I think Jordan Love has a tremendous chance to win the MVP. And if you were asking me who's going to win, you have to pick between Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. Honestly, I'm going to pick Jordan Love every single day. Not saying that I think Jalen Hurts is an inferior quarterback to Jordan Love, but it's just undeniable to me that Jordan Love has all the momentum, and Jalen Hurts absolutely needs to rediscover that momentum and kind of reignite it altogether. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Who do you think is more likely to win the MVP? Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.